Hello, hello. It is your astro coach Sarah Waggle here for wellness astrology for the full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo. This moon will be in Virgo from March 12th through the 14th, and the eclipse, which is a total blood moon eclipse, occurs overnight between the 13th and 14th. And shortly thereafter, Mercury stations retrograde. So that's fun. Add that to the mix of everything that's going on. Okay, so this is happening in Virgo. So if you are a Virgo rising or a Virgo sun or have hefty placements in Virgo, I've put the warnings out there that Virgos are going to go through it. This is a South node, meaning things we are letting go, things we are done with. Lunar eclipse. So, this could be just for Virgo risings, particularly, this is really about yourself and what you are sort of done with about yourself. Maybe it's just you're not going to be so detail oriented or so self-deprecating or something like that. Virgos can be really critical of themselves. But I think for all of us, wherever Virgo is in your chart, of course, the Pisces season, sun and rising signs does go over where Virgo is according to your rising sign. So there's that. And, so take a look at that video for specifics. But let's take a look at the chart. I know I showed it in that video, but I'll show it here too, because we want to keep in mind that the only things in Virgo for this full moon lunar eclipse is the moon and the south node. And the south node is not an object, it is a point, a chart point. And so everything else is over in Pisces. The Saturn, the sun, the North Node and Neptune are all over in Pisces, the opposing sign where the sun is. So this is the sun opposite the moon, full moon. Full moons are about release anyway, but you combine that with the South Node, and it's almost like there's a faded. I mean, this is definitely faded, right? So, if faded events may occur with this much Pisces energy. Venus in retrograde, Mercury about to station retrograde. We could definitely see some things happening with relationships. Could be even, your relationship with yourself. Like, again, something's got to give with yourself. With this much Pisces energy, we could see something with health and healthcare. Pisces and Virgo is the health axis. So we could see something with health or healthcare related things. We could see something with hospitals and any other institution, hospitals, prisons, and any other type of institution. We could see earth events because this full moon is trine Uranus and Taurus. And so pretty much anytime we have been, as Uranus gets closer to the final degrees of Taurus, we are definitely seeing more activity there. So let's take a look at the chart before I ramble too much about it. Hang on. Alrighty. So this full moon is peaking at 23 degrees of Virgo. So if you have anything in Virgo or Pisces around probably, I would say 22 degrees to probably like 26, 27, even as late as 29, since we have Neptune at 29. And then of course you have Uranus down at the 6 o'clock-ish position in Taurus, and that would be the trine. Let me get the right color here, because Uranus is at 23 degrees of Taurus. So Uranus is a disruptor. It shakes things up. It surprises us. This could be something financial, perhaps, because it's in Taurus. Taurus is an earth sign that does represent like money and finances, resources, things like that. I've been talking a lot about, the abundance of resources versus not necessarily the abundance of money, particularly. This could also be an earth thing because we have Virgo is an earth sign, Taurus is an earth sign, and then Pisces being a water sign. So there could be something earth and water-ish related. Um, something like that, something like with the supply chain with regards to like cargo, or something to that effect. What else? Jupiter is at, looks like 13. So luckily Jupiter and Gemini is not really in the mix of this. Um, otherwise that'd be very interesting. You can see over in Aries, we have Venus in the red there with the retrograde. Mercury is at his stationing degree. He stations retrograde within 24 hours of this eclipse. And so then we will have Mercury and Venus in retrograde. And that's a lot to think about right there. Those are personal planets. Mercury is about communication, it's about transportation and travel. It's about delay. Mercury in retrograde is about delays. So be proactive with your planning. So Mercury is communication, transportation, and travel. It's technology as it relates to a mode of communication. So something to do with social media or emails or something like that. And then, of course, Venus, which is about values and money and relationships. And she's already in retrograde. And neither one of these planets is particularly, great in Aries. Venus is at her detriment in Aries. Mercury has no dignification there. But arguably, Mercury is not any such way in most signs other than Virgo and Gemini and Sagittarius, but certainly he has no nothing here. Um, so then we have, of course, Uranus, Jupiter, Mars not at their favorable positions. Neptune's at home in Pisces. Saturn has no dignity in Pisces there. But really, we're talking about like Virgo, Pisces, the axis here. Virgo is your physical body. It's practical, it's detail oriented, but it's things we're letting go, right? And a lot of this Pisces, Virgo nodal transit over the next, well, until mid-July of 2026. There's a lot about being a lot less logical and practical and a lot more about being faithful and trusting the process of something, trusting the transformation, right? If you think about like, the ocean, how, I mean, I don't know if you've all ever been to the ocean, but when you get in there in the morning, the waves are coming up, pretty high with the high tide, and then they lower as the day goes on. So, you've got, rocks and things like that can be transformed over the course of time as the tide shifts and changes. So, but we're also talking about health and well-being and knowing and trusting. Like this is where you got to feel your body. You got to feel your body. Like I said, there could be something up with healthcare, something shifting in healthcare. I know we've got a lot going on with healthcare with the new administration here in the United States, but even across the board, there could be changes in healthcare. There could be changes with hospital situations. I think I've seen a few headlines already this year of hospitals filing for bankruptcy, and no doubt being short-staffed, and kind of stretched to their limits and things like that. And so no doubt we'll continue to see changes in our hospitals and healthcare situations. But this is, again, where we've got to learn to listen to our own body and be intuitive, listening to our gut. Virgo rules the digestive system, and whatnot. I feel like, though, that this being like a South Node lunar eclipse in Virgo, it's like, again, it's being a lot less logical and being more intuitive. It's being a lot less nitpicky and fact checky and more just go with the flow. Because again, Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces, you're probably not getting all of the information. You're not, there's definitely a lot more fogginess happening, and whatnot. Again, this is an opportunity where I would say sobriety, or just being a little bit more attentive or conscientious of your overall nutrition, your well-being. Definitely be aware of things like mental issues, like psychiatric type things. There's a lot going on, and it's very destabilizing to the nervous system for this much change to be going on. Eclipses do bring fated events. So, there could be something here that just poof, it's gone, and it, you know, it could be that you just wake up that next day and you're like, I'm gonna believe in myself. I'm gonna not do the whole, criticizing myself type of thing. You could decide that it doesn't matter whether, you know, you have a strategically organized house, as long as your house is well kept and clean, and all of that. So I don't know. But I definitely think there could be some surprises with the trine to Uranus. Now, trines are harmonious, but this is Uranus. So Uranus tends to spin things in its own kind of flavor of way. So who knows with Uranus? But again, be attentive to your resources, be attentive to, uh, like I said, supply chains, things like that. But proactively be prepared for that Mercury retrograde if you're traveling. Proactively plan for communication delays. People having like the inability to keep track of time, the inability to comprehend time. That's definitely something that's been coming up for a few people lately that I have talked to. Keep extra attentive to appointments that you need to keep, just because, like, with Mercury now about to go retrograde, we could definitely have, people just forgetting appointments. And honestly, if you have a lot of Virgo in your chart, you probably put everything on your calendar or set 900 reminders, because you know that you will forget. um, so yeah, a lot going on with this eclipse. It is a total lunar eclipse, so there's definitely an apex here of release energy. Take a couple of minutes if you can throughout the couple of days of this moon in Virgo, and kind of, jot down or journal down some notes of things you are releasing. Maybe it's a good time to kind of like declutter. And make space for the things that you absolutely want. We talked about your heart's desire and what you really want and the sacrifices that you need to make. And this could be an opportunity to, just take some stuff to the thrift store, or, make some decisions about things. In the grand scheme of things, does it really matter that you own, 900 t-shirts related to a sports team, a band, whatever? Is that really what you want to be your legacy, for lack of a better term? Does it really matter? What's really actually important to you? Is it the t-shirts and the I say t-shirts because there is not a member of my family that does not own an overabundance of t-shirts. But something that I was discussing with somebody recently was that I used to own, everything White Sox, everything Jeff Gordon. And I just stopped owning that stuff. I just stopped being interested in that being my life, was having, every knickknack, every kitchen item, every t-shirt, every different kind of hat, every whatever. And now I hardly ever wear any kind of message anything, because it's not important to me anymore to advertise who my fandom is. And to be honest with you, I don't follow pro sports that much anymore at all, for various reasons, mostly just because I don't care, but there's other reasons. But the same thing goes with, favorite bands and whatever. Like, once upon a time I had every, Bon Jovi CD and every Bon Jovi VHS and da 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 da, and not anymore. Not anymore. I don't see much need to own any music at this point. Whatever I want, I can find on how many different music apps do we have now, um, kind of thing. So it's a decision, right? It's a choice, and it's what do you really want to be remembered for, and what do you actually want to pursue, and what crap is in the way, what clutter is in the way of you pursuing it. And this could be clutter on your computer, clutter in your inbox, clutter in your house, clutter in, your closet, all of those things. So, all of that. So anyway, that's this full moon, lunar eclipse. It's a doozy. It's a doozy. Because I feel like there's unfortunately going to be a lot of things that, like, this is such intense let go energy that, like, it's going to boggle people's brain, including mine, probably, at just how let go this might be, how fated this is. Like, March ain't a fuck around month. It is not. There's a lot happening. And like I've said before, we're in a split. There's some people that are going to keep all their stuff. They're going to keep all of their excuses. They're going to keep all their victim stories. They're going to keep all that. And I've said it before, I have a hard time being with that. And I think it's because I've done so much work that I can't imagine why people wouldn't want to stay in that level of suffering. But it's not up to me to decide anybody's fate, destiny, karma, dharma, any of that, right? Even though I see it when I interact with people, I see their brilliance, I see their beauty, I see their potential, I see that they could be prophetic and that they could provide something for the world. But it's not unlike myself. It took me a long time to see it within myself, how much I could just affect and empower people, by my social media posts, by being on YouTube and whatever. And I still need a reminder occasionally that I actually do impact people's lives. So don't ever underestimate your impact on others. And if you are any bit on social media, even if you only post once a week or once a month, you have an impact on people. And I think there's so many people out there who don't believe in that for themselves, that they would rather stay in their victim excuses, their suffering, because they don't believe enough that they actually make a difference for other people. But your courage to put yourself online can, even if it's like I saw somebody's video recently who like lost everything in the Los Angeles fires. And she's just like, here I am, no makeup, no ring light, no nothing, because it was all destroyed. But I'm still going to show up here and do my thing, right? And you guys have seen me do some pretty interesting locations and interesting circumstances over the years when I've been a nomad. And there may be some more of those coming up because I actually do have some house sits coming up. But so there may be more of those coming up. And my intention is to continue to show up and practice talking about astrology and how, like, and detaching my own my own limiting thought that it's okay that people want to stay in their suffering, because the thought of believing in themselves and trusting God, source, universe, and trusting astrology, the thought of them doing those things, they cannot be with. And personally, I can't imagine that again, but I've been in dark places and I always knew I could feel better. I just needed the right resources to feel better. And learn how to work with your moon sign is half the battle, in my opinion. That's my opinion. Astrology saved my life. Okay. Once I learned my own natal chart, like I know it now, and I follow the transits now, and I'm like, oh shit. So, and I'm extra careful when I know certain transits will be coming up. So, but not everybody trusts something higher than themselves. They just trust their current experience of life. So you might find that you have to let something like that go. Or like, I can't believe people don't want to do counseling or therapy or coaching, or maybe they don't want to go to the gym and exercise. Maybe they don't want to eat healthy, and you got to be okay with that, because not everybody does. Not everybody wants to be on social media. Not everybody, you know, I mean, there's not everybody, fill in the blank for yourself, because there's a lot of things I could say there, but I'm going to, I'm going to not. I'm going to not. I'm going to read some tarot cards instead. How about that? But anyway, just know that there's people out there that, this is the split, right? And I feel like we're gonna all learn to be together and understand each other and be compassionate towards each other. But I feel like this first stretch of the actual split between who is evolving, ascending, and growing, and the people who are not, look, there's nothing wrong with them, but you got to realize that in evolutionary astrology, Jeffrey Wolf Green did say, that there's three types of people, right? There's the Saturnian people. Those people are meant to stay in the what's the term, programmed, conditioned. They are meant to follow societal rules. They're meant to. Then there's the Iranian people. Iranians go against the grain, right? They become astrologers in a Christian town. They become the spiritual workers, the Reiki practitioners, the spiritual intuitives, the psychic mediums, all of those things. Those are Iranian people, right? They're empathic as hell. They can feel everything, all of those things. Those are Uranian people. And then there's the Neptunian. Those are the people who typically are very hermit and very, connected to nature. Like they don't like being around modern society. Speaking of which, modern society, there is a book called A Walk in the Woods by Bill Bryson. I highly recommend it. I have read it twice in my life, and I might read it again eventually. But there's also a book called Wild by Cheryl Strayed. I bring these two books up because, particularly A Walk in the Woods with Bill Bryson, he and his buddy decide to hike the Appalachian Trail, and it discusses their experience of being out on the trail and then coming back into like a Walmart or some department store of some sort, and their experience of seeing like the overconsumption and things like that. So, and Cheryl Strayed's book Wild is more like a healing journey on the Pacific Crest Coast Trail, PCT, I think, Pacific Coast Trail, I think. Anyway, but interesting books to read, to really get in touch with a different part of how life can go. There was one point in my life that I wanted to do through hiking, but the amount of guiding that I would need to do it through hike it'd be a lot. I've done some hiking and I kind of need hand holding. I won't lie. I need hand holding and lots of help and guidance and support and love. And I've done it, and it's great if you got the right people to do it, but you kind of need, I don't know. I personally just needed a lot of help, but I do recommend through hiking, or at least hiking. Get out in nature, for crying out loud. There's so much water in the chart and so much instability in the world. Go get outside. Go get outside, get to know some trees, hug them, all of those things. Okay, let's get into this tarot. All right, we got the Eight of Air, adding a little intellect to the conversation. Okay, an illusion of being trapped, a lack of self-confidence. What did I just say? And afraid to take action. Yeah. People don't have the confidence in themselves. They don't have the ability to, they didn't listen to Aaron Tippin enough in the 90s. Somebody knows that reference. They didn't listen to Aaron Tippin enough in the 90s. But they don't have any confidence. They don't have confidence in themselves. So it's easier for them to stay. What did I just say? It's easier for them to stay in the illusion that they are trapped in, and not take responsibility. Responsibility is a dirty word, don't you know? Not take responsibility, not take any action because they are so afraid. In fact, they will keep finding new ways to new excuses or new things. There's words I want to use here, but I want to be careful. They'll find new excuses. They'll find new anything to stay trapped in the illusion of trapped that they have created for themselves. Pisces does rule prisons. And so you can be imprisoned by your own doing, right? You can be stuck to a ball and chain by your own doing, your own lack of confidence in yourself that you feel trapped. But it's just the illusion in your own head that you're trapped. We'll do a second card since this is an eclipse. Why not? We got the 6 of air. Oh, interesting. Both air cards. So it's happening in your head, whatever it is. Things are looking up. The end of a difficult situation and taking a trip. So interesting that we got 2 different ends of the spectrum, right? We've got the something new, and the stuck in your own prison. So, wasn't there a song called from, oh Lord, what was the name of that band? It'll come to me. The guy's name was Scott Stapp, I think. But what the hell was the name of the band? Can't remember. Okay. Can't remember, but he had a song about like my own prison. I thought somebody's gonna make fun of me for bringing that band up. I liked them. Okay, I might have owned their album actually back in the day. Anyway, let's see what's up with the self-care. We'll get a couple of these cards on the table. But yeah, definitely like do some journaling about what you can release and let go, and be cognizant of what you're ready to be done with, but also know that this is faded energy. So something's gonna go that maybe you don't understand in the moment, but it might be a while. It might be into April before things make sense. Whatever has to go during this eclipse. All right. For self-care, we have number 28, sorry. And this is intuition. Yeah, trust your gut. Yeah, Virgo energy going on with your gut. You got to trust your gut. What else we got? And number 12, which is this the connect with your crystals? Nope, this is connect with fire. Oh, well, okay. Connect with fire. Burn ceremony? Did somebody say burn ceremony? Because that could be what this is burn ceremony. And if you don't feel comfortable with a burn ceremony, this could be tear something up and throw it in the trash, or take something and throw it in a dumpster, so that it doesn't even sit in your home trash, but it goes into a dumpster, or go find a public trash can. They're usually somewhere along the road. You can find a public trash can and put it in a public trash can, say goodbye, wish it well, all of the things. I once saw a friend throw out a pair of shoes. She gave the shoes a big hug for all that they had done for her, and then tossed it in a public trash bin. I believe she had a replacement pair with her, or bought a new pair while she was out and about, and her shoes fell apart. So anyway, but I have taken things and thrown them into dumpsters, in random places. I have done burn ceremonies. I have written things down on a sheet of paper and torn them into bits and pieces and thrown them away. But again, throw them into a trash can that's not in your home. And the reason that I say, for me, now if that works for you, that works for you. But for me personally, because if your trash is not full and ready to take out that day, how long is it going to still sit there energetically in your home? It's kind of like boxing things up to go to the thrift store and making it sit in your house until the box is full, or like you're ready to go to the thrift store. Or how often does it sit in your car if you drive? um there are thrift stores who will pick up, and so but if you're, I personally like the idea of either burning it, which I don't always have the option to do, and I don't like, I don't usually have the option to burn. um but I usually write something down, rip it up into a million pieces, and like go throw it in the dumpster, or like I said, a public trash can. Even if it's like a public trash can in a business, like, if you go to Starbucks or whatever local coffee shop or whatever. But like, but my point is I don't want to put it in my trash in my apartment, because then it's going to sit there until I take out my trash. And I feel like that's just keeping the energy around. That's me, right? I want that crap to be as far away from me as possible. But burn ceremony. So ceremoniously love on something, give it gratitude, send it away with kindness, with grace, with compassion. Love it, thank it, all of the things. Okay, guys, good luck. Let me know how this eclipse shows up for you. Again, I will make sure that the link for the Pisces season sun and rising signs is in the description. It covers your sun and risings. It's for this lunar eclipse in Virgo. Take care of yourselves and all of the everything. Bye for now.